Coming up on The Cut, 1 year after October 7th, this is the state of Israel.
And tropical storms continue throughout the East Coast.
And this social media star shook the internet by having the vice president on their broadcast.
All of this and more coming up as The Cut starts right now.
Welcome to the Cut Network. I'm Maria Loiza.
And I'm Ernie Jimenez.
On October 7th, we reached the 1-year anniversary of Hamas attacking Israel, and so much more has happened in the Middle East since. Israel struck Beirut on October 6th in a series of targeted attacks on weapons storage facilities and Hezbollah infrastructure, according to CNN. Also on the eve of the anniversary, Israeli airstrikes hit a mosque and school in central Gaza, killing 25. These attacks and others similar to it came after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu came out and said the country was being attacked on 7 different fronts. Netanyahu said, quote, "We are firing against Iran, which last week fired over 200 ballistic missiles directly at Israel, and which stands between the 7-front war against Israel," end quote. While world leaders such as French President Emmanuel Macron are calling to cease trading of military equipment against Israel. However, Netanyahu says they will not stop fighting until, quote, "the battle is won."
An ex-Arizona photojournalist set his arm on fire during D.C. protest and was rescued by bystanders. A former Arizona photojournalist, Samuel Mena Jr., made national headlines over the weekend after attempting to set himself on fire during a pro-Palestine demonstration in Washington, D.C. According to D.C. Metropolitan Police Chief Pamela A. Smith, the incident occurred around 5:45 p.m. on Saturday. Mena Jr. attempted to light his arm on fire, but bystanders and members of the Metropolitan Police Department quickly intervened, putting out the flames. D.C. Fire and EMS arrived on the scene and transported Mena Jr. to a local hospital where he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Before the incident, Mena Jr. posted on his social media stating his intention to livestream from the White House. Mena Jr.'s former employer, Arizona's Family, confirmed he was not in Washington, D.C. on station business and emphasized that they expect their newsroom employees to act with neutrality and objectivity. Chief Smith reiterated the police department's commitment to supporting peaceful protests while holding accountable those who commit criminal acts in the city. Another hurricane heading towards the southeastern part of the country. With what's to come is reporter Taylor Casey. Taylor?
Thank you, Ernie. Tropical Storm Milton is expected to hit Florida and surrounding states on the west coast this week. Severe damage is expected. Tropical Storm Milton is a Category 3 major hurricane that formed in the western Gulf of Mexico last Sunday. The storm is expected to travel northeast and hit the Gulf of Florida and impact surrounding states. The winds started at 65 miles per hour early Sunday and is predicted to gain speed up to 111 to 129 miles per hour. Voluntary and mandatory evacuations will likely be issued to Florida residents in the next few days. This storm is approaching a little more than a week after Hurricane Helen made landfall in Florida across the southeast, killing at least 229 people in 6 states and causing devastating destruction. Members of the state's National Guard have been deployed in expected target areas to remove debris from Hurricane Helen's impact and prepare for the upcoming Tropical Storm Milton approaching. Experts are urging people to prepare now ahead of Tropical Storm Milton, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency will be monitoring the potential dangers of Tropical Storm Milton this week. Florida residents are suggested to follow the forecast carefully and follow instructions of state and local officials for any new information. For the Cut Network, I'm Taylor Casey.
Thank you, Taylor. Hope everyone in the potentially affected areas stays safe.
232. That is the death toll as of October 8th from Hurricane Helene that hit land on September 26th. But with many still missing or unaccounted for, that number could be higher. According to AP News, this is the deadliest hurricane that has hit mainland USA since Hurricane Katrina. Florida, Georgia, North and South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia are all feeling the impact that Hurricane Helene has left behind. Just in Florida alone, it is estimated that there will be over $47.5 billion in losses for property owners. According to data analytics firm CoreLogic, quote, a significant portion of the losses from this hurricane are likely to go uninsured, leaving the individual property owner responsible for paying for repairs, end quote. With Helene being the fourth hurricane to hit mainland U.S. this year, alarmingly high temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico is the factor people are pointing out. With some communities are trying to build themselves back up from the damages Helene has reaped upon them, others are bunkering down for a fifth. Temperatures across the valley and surrounding cities continue to rise. More with the story, reporter Kennedy Humble. Kennedy?
Thank you, Maria. A massive heat wave is continuing to surge across Arizona and is setting record-breaking temperatures in multiple cities around the state. This excessive heat wave has allowed for the city of Phoenix to reach 15 consecutive days of daily record high temperatures on Tuesday, something that has never been accomplished before. According to the National Weather Service, on October 7th, the Phoenix Sky Harbor thermometer hit 105 degrees around 12 p.m., officially breaking the previous 104-degree record from 1991. Additionally, the city has now had 70 days with recorded temperatures of 110 degrees or higher, which broke last year of 55 days. Experts are advising people to stay indoors and to limit any activities outside during the peak hours of the day. Luckily, temperatures are expected to drop as the week continues on. For the Cut Network, I'm Kennedy Humble.
Thank you, Kennedy. Make sure to stay safe while navigating the rising temperatures.
Vice President Harris' billionaire attacks sparks social media buzz, causing misleading claims. A new tax proposal backed by Vice President Kamala Harris is causing a stir on social media, with many posts misrepresenting who would be affected. The proposal, known as the Billionaire Minimum Tax, would target individuals with a net worth of more than $100 million, less than 1% of taxpayers. Despite this, some posts falsely claim that it will impact average homeowners, with one viral TikTok user saying people could lose their homes and that the IRS will bankrupt them. The proposed tax would apply to unrealized capital gains, the increase in value of assets like stocks or real estate, even if they haven't been sold. In simple terms, it's a tax on gain that only exists on paper. The Biden-Harris administration has been pushing for this as a part of a wider effort to make the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share. Additional tax revenue could fund social spending programs, including help of child care and support for first-time home buyers. Currently, only capital gains on assets that are sold are taxed. Harris has also proposed raising the top capital gains tax rate for millionaires from 20% to 28%. Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris was interviewed on viral podcast Call Her Daddy. What went down? Reporter Abby Jurek. Abby?
Alex Cooper is a 30-year-old podcaster who hosts the second most listened to show called Call Her Daddy. Her podcast has amassed a large following over the years, particularly with young women who are drawn to Cooper's take on dating and relationships. As Cooper is a huge advocate for women's rights and freedoms, she invited Vice President Kamala Harris on the podcast. According to Harris, she accepted with no hesitation. Alex Cooper typically has high-profile celebrities on the podcast, such as Hailey Bieber and John Legend, but decided to reach out to Vice President Harris for her episode last Sunday. The interview with Harris was not meant to, quote, change your political affiliation, Cooper said. However, she believes it would have been remiss of her not to have a conversation about women with the presidential candidate. Cooper reached out to former President Donald Trump for an interview as well, but received no response. From diving into Harris's childhood to discussing her experience being the first woman
In the business, Cooper's recent Call Her Daddy episode reached many young women who have not been previously interested in the election. Harris told Cooper, quote, "You and your listeners have really got this thing right. One of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real and talk about the things that people really care about." You can stream the episode now on Apple, iHeart, Amazon, and Spotify podcasts. For the Cut Network, I'm Abby Jurek.
Thank you, Abby. I will have to take a listen. ASU's grudge match win against Kansas, #1 ranked Alabama goes down, and how the last standing Oakland sports team sadly played their emotional final home game in front of a sellout crowd. All of this will cut sports anchor Johan Lopez.
Thank you very much, Ernie. Hello and welcome to another edition of Sports on the Cut. I'm Johan Lopez, and today we got a fantastic set of stories, so let's get right into it. Sun Devil football is back from the bye week, and after losing their last game to Texas Tech that left a sour taste in their mouth, the Sun Devils responded against Kansas with an absolute shootout in the desert last week, winning with a score of 35-31. This game went down to the wire. The ASU offense and QB Sam Levitt orchestrated a game-winning drive down 3 with over 2 minutes left. Levitt found receiver Jordan Tyson for the game-winning touchdown that would ice the game with 16 seconds left. Levitt ended up with another great game and great bounce back from his not-so-good performance versus Texas Tech, throwing a career-high 4 touchdowns and 157 total yards. The Scat Pack himself also had a great bounce-back game. Running back Cameron Scadaboo finished with 182 total yards and a crucial 39-yard pickup in the game-winning drive. The Sun Devils can't celebrate for too long, though, as they will host number 16 ranked Utah under the Friday night lights. Kickoff is at 10:30 Eastern. Now on to the biggest upset so far in the young college football season, as #1 ranked Alabama goes down against unranked Vanderbilt with a score of 40-35, and probably the most important win in Vanderbilt's football history. In a David against Goliath type matchup, the story of the game was time of possession. Vandy possessed the ball for over 42 minutes out of the 60, and a JUCO transfer, 5th-year senior Dago Pavia, stepped up in the game of his life, tossing 2 touchdowns over 250 yards. As you could expect, when you upset the great Bama program at home, the Vanderbilt fans went crazy, rushing the fields, tearing down the field goal post, and carrying it more than 2 miles through the streets of Nashville, Tennessee, and throwing it into the Cumberland River. The school was later fined $100,000 for the chaotic scenes after the game. Moving on to the Oakland Athletics in their farewell season in Oakland, play their final home game in front of a sold-out, emotional crowd. For the time being, the A's are expected to play in Sacramento for however long it will take Las Vegas to finance the stadium and actually build it. Owner John Fisher's philosophy is to build within, rely on the farmhands, and find hidden gems on the open market. Also known as don't invest in your team and profit as much as possible from your own fans, as the A's are always at the bottom of the league at spending, and their hot dogs are the most expensive in all MLB. And no, this is not the plot from the movie Major League. Fisher did try to keep the A's in the Bay multiple occasions, but failed miserably each time since he does not want to finance the whole project, and Oakland is not willing to give him what he wants. The A's are Vegas bound since Vegas is willing to pay for the stadium. It's not completely Fisher's fault. California is a hard place to build property, and Oakland politics is simply a mess. The city named their Oakland airport San Francisco Bay Airport, and the mayor's house just got raided a few months ago, so that's where the city is currently at. The Coliseum saw the A's three-peat in the 70s, the rise of Ricky Henderson and the Bash Bros, and a 20-game win streak during the Moneyball era. And with that is the end of this segment of the Sports Cut. Back to Ernie and Marie at the desk.
Thank you, Johan.
While New Hampshire has descending temperatures as we reach the fall season, one friendly neighbor wanted one last pool day. A moose was found in the backyard swimming pool of a Bedford, New Hampshire home on October 3rd. The homeowners swiftly called the authorities, and when officers raised the tarp covering the pool, they found the furry creature. The moose safely walked out of the pool and back into a wooded area near the home. Bedford Police Chief Daniel Dwitty announced that no animals or people were harmed in the incident. Even though the fall season has already started, I'm sure the moose on the loose was not the only one looking for some last summer fun.
Well, I heard there's a video circulating out there. I haven't seen the video, but so far it sounds like a crazy experience. Yes,
you know, I didn't see the video either until we got the story, and I was like, okay, let me take a look, and the moose was literally just chilling at the bottom of the pool. I was like, how did he even get in there? And with the tarp on?
Yeah, right, exactly. And have you ever seen those memes of the moose or elk just chilling with with glasses on them, and
yes, and they have like the little books, and yes, I've seen those.
That's what I could just imagine this moose is doing.
Yeah,
and I would like to see the video of
definitely with like a little coconut just sipping away at the pool.
Yeah.
Oh, love to be that moose.
Well, thank you for tuning into the Cut Network.
For more news, follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X @thecut ASU.
And have a nice night.